Well then, Shino. I'm glad I never had a teacher like Shino. I mean, I've had some bad teachers, but damn, Shino. So this episode of Boruto, honestly, probably one of my favorites thus far. And I'm glad to say that because, you know, the popular consensus coming into the Boruto anime was it's not gonna be good, it's gonna be trash, and especially, you know, what the manga did for so long, just doing a recap of a movie that we already seen, and not really adding anything new, and even lately, the latest chapter wasn't really all that. You know, people counted Boruto out even before it started. They were like, it's not gonna be nothing. So when you get episodes like this that are beautifully animated, really cool little lesson, and once again, building these characters for future potential, so when, you know, things get really meaty and we get really interesting and cool stuff, we had this development with these characters, and when you got to see them interact with one another. And I've said this, you know, in the past in different videos, that I feel as though this is something that early Naruto should have did, so that people didn't really have a qualm about how Naruto felt regarding Sasuke and everything he did in Shippuden. If we had a lot of episodes like these episodes with Naruto and Sasuke and just really seen them together, I think that a lot of people would have had a different reaction to Naruto chasing Sasuke throughout Shippuden. I mean, they had, you know, the Zabuza stuff and then a little bit of the tuning exams, and it was kind of all out of whack from there. I think if we have more episodes like this, just genuinely seeing Naruto and Sasuke, you know, growing up together and developing that bond more thoroughly, people wouldn't have had a problem with it. So there's that. Now, seeing Shino, bro, essentially, in a way, I don't know if I should go this route, because there's a couple of perspectives you could take from this one. One, in essence, anybody that watches this, they're just gonna think, so even though Shino is really strong and all of that good shit, he got bested by 3, not even Genins, 3 academy students. They got him. But the counter argument there, which I more so lean towards, even though I've been giving Shino hell, I've been dropping Shino down a well of shit for quite a few weeks now, about a month. But to his credit, he wasn't in his right mind, and he wasn't really controlling himself, and he wasn't doing things strategically as Shino would do. You know, it was said multiple times throughout the episode, he's letting his bugs out freely, you know, using his chakra like if it's nothing. So you can't really necessarily say, oh, Shino, you suck, because it wasn't really, you know, he even described it as if he was just being possessed. So is it really because something else was using his capabilities still at fault of Shino for getting bested by these 3 kids? Now, you could argue, because I feel as though the MVP of this episode, hands down, was Mitsuki. You know, and Mitsuki, even though he's not even a Genin yet, from the powers he's displayed, and I don't want to go into spoiler territory or whatever, but Mitsuki is a lot more than meets the eye. And I mean, you see the different natures that he uses. He has them Luffy rubber arms and shit like that. Mitsuki's a little bit more than just what Boruto and Shikadai are, at the very least. And again, why I say he was MVP is not only he was the one that took out Shino, but also getting more of this interesting character, because I feel as though this is one of the first times where we're really getting to explore Mitsuki as a character. The Boruto Naruto, the movie film that we got, wasn't really much to do with Mitsuki. We've seen him here, we've seen him there. It's episodes like this and the previous episode where we got introduced to him that is really allowing us to get a better view of who Mitsuki is and what is his goals. In the last episode, he was asking Boruto, are you my son? Referring to, like, you know, him being like the moon. And in this episode, we got to see that Boruto's nice nature is something foreign to him. Apparently, you know, he's been through hell. And again, I'm trying to be very spoiler-free from what I know about Mitsuki, but maybe that's the reason why he's very cold and why he is the way he is. And I mean, he was even testing Boruto in this one. So it's weird. It's called the final lesson in this episode, but not only was Shino teaching them a lesson, like, you little motherfuckers, you make fun of me, I don't know what ass, but no, like, you know, Mitsuki was testing Boruto as well. And honestly, I really love the dynamic of these 3 characters. And I know eventually we'll get more of Sarada, because, you know, it's supposed to be Boruto, Mitsuki, and Sarada as these 3, but I love having the inclusion of Shikadai. And whenever we move away and stray away from the content that we've had up until this point, I'm gonna be a little bit disappointed, because Shikadai as a character, he may be just for the most part, clone of his father. You know, you can easily admit that, right? I mean, the Mendokusai with everything, definitely like his father, but I think that's the reason why I like him as a character. And maybe it's a bad thing, maybe, like, you know, he shouldn't be a carbon copy, but I like Shikamaru, and getting another chance to see Shikamaru as a young lazy guy, I like that. So that's one of the things I also appreciated about this episode, seeing the 3 of them working together to take down Shino. And episodes like this, is some of the things that so much of the Naruto fandom have wanted and complained they wish they had back in Shippuden, and that's really taking it to the roots, not having big chakra blasts back and forth, really using strategy, really using technique, really being crafty, and overall really getting back to the roots of being ninja. When they're running through the woods and you got fucking Shino's bugs chasing them and shit like that, and you know Shikadai sees the water and stuff like that that's making them spread out, like it really went back to the roots of being tricky, being sneaky, learning some strategy, figuring things out. And that was one of the best things about this episode as well, and why I liked it so much, and why I thought it just nailed what it was trying to accomplish. Now, the final lesson, personally, because it seems as though Shino's going to continue, even though he said he wanted to resign or whatever. Ultimately, I think it would have been interesting to see him resign. I mean, I guess we found his role in the Naruto verse, because now he even impressed his students and shit like that. But I think it would have been better if he resigned, just because it would have been like powerful. But then at the same time, there's also the argument of, hey, he got to overcome things. But I don't know. I thought it would have been very impactful and emotional if he would have resigned and, took up another job. Now, because we still haven't gotten to the root of it, and we don't exactly know what's going on with this monster that is making people that are depressed fall and become, just vicious, crazy nut jobs and shit like that. Something personally that I want. And I thought it'd be interesting, and this would be the perfect time. If they're ever going to execute something like this, and you're probably going to think I'm crazy, but if they're ever going to execute something like this would be the greatest excuse ever. I would love to see Might Guy fall under and just say, I'm crippled for life, and oh my god, not only would it be funny, but it would be really cool, because there's an excuse to it. It's not just a corny thing like, he pulls in Obito, like, hey, because of life circumstances, I'm gonna try and control the world now. Like, it's, hey, I fell into depravity and this thing kind of controlled me. I would love to see that. I doubt it's gonna happen, but that's just a personal thing that after seeing Shino doing this, it's like, why not my guy, bro? Imagine him in the wheelchair with the chakra, like, oh. Another bit that was pretty cool in the episode, because there's not much really to complain about this episode. You could argue that the stakes aren't that high, although you think about it, they're fighting for their lives, right? But the ending of the episode, getting to see Hokage Naruto and his little interaction with Shino, it always feels as though it's diving back into the world that we came from with, Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, because again, Boruto is just new territory. We're mainly focusing on these new characters, which are actually interesting, because sometimes spin-offs, like, they just don't work. We don't care about the new cast, but we do somewhat, and at this point, I'm starting to really care about these characters. But you can never forget about the characters that made us give a shit about this spin-off to begin with, and seeing the little interaction with Shikamaru, Naruto, and Shino in that office, and just kind of Naruto giving him props, because if we get anything for Shino, I guess is to say that, one, the kids gave him props saying, wow, we didn't really know you were that strong, that's freaking awesome, and also Naruto complimenting him, and then just kind of the playback of him saying, man, it's a shame your son turned out just like you. That was a really beautiful scene, beautifully animated, gorgeous art. Like, they did a really good job there, and I'm interested to see how they're going to get to the bottom of this. I mean, it seems as though it's going to be the kids that continue to stumble into it, which is not the most exciting thing when you think about it. It's like, this is something that's happening seriously, and they're not even real ninja yet, you know what I'm saying? They're just training to be a ninja at some given point. So it'll probably be the kids and Boruto, because he has that special eye or whatever, which I really hope, and I believe they are going to dive more into this eye technique that Boruto has in the next few episodes. But I mean, as a whole, to be honest with you, this episode, I want to say it gets a solid 8 out of 10. It did some really good things. I think, again, that Mitsuki really dominated the episode, getting more of what he's after, and like just seeing his dead personality, which I've made comparisons before. It's kind of like Sai, but just darker, you know what I'm saying? Because Sai just has this dry, doesn't understand things, and I guess his, child Inojin has that as well. This one is a little bit darker, because he's talking about killing. He's testing Boruto, but nevertheless, he's talking about killing Shino in this episode, you know what I'm saying? Boruto's like, whoa! So we see Boruto, good kid, obvious. That's nothing that we found out, like, hey, he's not an asshole, he's not a scumbag. So there's that. So yeah, 8 out of 10. Really curious what you guys thought about this episode, though. How did you feel about Shino essentially losing? It wasn't Shino, it was the thing controlling him, but nevertheless, he did get bested by 3 not even Genins yet. What do you think about that? How do you feel about Mitsuki in this episode? How he essentially was the one that put Shino down. It was due to strategy between Boruto, Shikadai, and him, but yo, Shino lost to Mitsuki in a sense. What do you think regarding those events? Also, how do you feel about the episode as a whole? The little conversation with Naruto at the end, and any predictions at this point? point regarding what the hell that is controlling people. If it's able to control somebody at the Jonin level, I wouldn't be surprised if we see at some given point Hokage Naruto get controlled. I mean, how strong is this thing to be able to conquer people? Only time will tell. Really curious what you think about this. And your thoughts of the episode. Again, solid 8 out of 10. Very good episode. Can't wait to see where this all goes. And yeah, preview for next episode looks like shit, but different video for a different time. That's all I have for this one though. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.